Welcome back to Cent Crypto. In today's content, I'm going to give a quick update about Aeon, Siacoin, Encash, GVT, Monero, and VeChain, right? So when you take a look at the this pattern of Aeon, right, it gives you, if you watch my previous video, right, it gives you the same pattern with ICX and OneChain, right? They get this like normal wave, right, to the downside, right? Unlike VeChain getting like an inverted waves. So and then basically Aeon and ICX and OneChain, they kind of like the same project, not the same project, but like similar projects, right? So they're gonna be acting the same way, right? So when I made that video, Aeon was roughly below this area of 50 EMA, right? When you take a look at it, so. And I said, like, if you're holding a coin and then the coin is moving below its 50 EMA, don't do anything until that project move above this area of 100 EMA, right? That's pretty simple. You don't have to do anything. The market is pretty bullish. Aeon got a very nice bottom formation, right? And then, but my concern about Aeon is, it is pretty close to this area of 100 EMA, right? When you take a look at it, it's pretty close, right? And I'm expecting Aeon to be overextended. But the concern I'm having is that when you take a look at the RSI, it's kind of like seriously, about to get seriously overextended, almost like 70, right? When you take a look at the RSI, is 70. So what I'm expecting from Aeon to do from now, right, at least for the short term, right, just to be safe, I would be expecting Aeon to make a correction, right, just like that, right? This way, it's gonna give like the RSI some sort of like a U-turn to get like more momentum before going to the upside, right? So that's very possible, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. The other scenario Aeon could be making is that Aeon could be making a very rapid move to the upside, like maybe like a less than 12 to 24 hours rapid impulse move. And when you really take a look at it, it's no resistance. I mean, there is no resistance, you would be waiting for Aeon to break this area, right? You would be looking at Aeon to break this area, but Aeon already like broke that area like on the RSI. When you take a look at the RSI, right? Take a look at the RSI. This resistance has been broken, right, and come back. Basically come back and retested it, right? So price came back and retest this area of the resistance, and then now it's moving freely, right? So, and then at the same time, when you really take a look at it, right, the other way around, right, you would be looking at like this way, right? Also, right, already broken, right? So Aeon doesn't have any challenge right now but to like make a very impulse move, either to make a very impulse move very shortly, or just to get a slight pullback for a couple more days before a very impulse move to go back to its October high, right? Because I said it, like most of these coins, they're going back to their October high, right? You can go back and watch my videos. Since like Aeon was like below this area of 50 EMA, I said it, Aeon gonna get like a 70 to 6% move to the upside. And then if you compare Aeon and ICX, right, you overlay the chart, it's pretty much the same thing, right? You take a look at it, right, you overlay these two charts, and then Aeon is lagging behind. So basically ICX made this impulse move just about this area and like made a like 5-wave structure. On the line graph it looked like a 3-wave, but when you take a look at the candles, it's a 5-wave structure to the downside, like a bull flag. If you watch my previous video, I've been talking about like that bull flag, and then ICX went up like 60% after that. So Aeon could be making this structure, either to make this structure or just to go straight up to the upside, maybe with a 30 to 40% move to the upside, right? So just keep an eye on Aeon, and then put your stop loss very carefully. This is not a financial advice, so don't buy because I say like I'm saying like Aeon gonna go up, right? So I'm just making this video for my own references. Like the next bull run, I can go back and watch these videos and use them as a reference, right? So the next coin we're gonna talk about is Siacoin. When you take a look at Siacoin, it is also a very overextended. I made a video about Siacoin when Siacoin was like I think like 65, right, 61 to 65 sats. Right now it's almost like 70 sats, so that's like almost what, over 10-15% up, and it still like has a room. I mean, it still has like plenty of room to go, right? So just got rejected by this area of let me see, area of 100 EMA. And when I made that video, Siacoin was moving like below its area of 50 EMA. So I said like all these coins, they're going to be moving just about this area. But the good thing, the good thing is that Siacoin just broke this area of resistance. Now it's freely moving, getting squeezed between these between the 50 and then between the 100 and then the 50, right? But we're just gonna have to wait and see if SIA gonna come back and retest this area. And then when you take a look at the RSI, just like Aeon, kind of overextended. So I would be expecting, at least for the short term, right, for SIA to either make a slight pullback, and then they move to the upside. So this way you probably like gonna get a divergence between the RSI and then the price, right? Because once the RSI like make a U-turn, might not get like seriously overextended, but the price could like get more momentum and then get seriously overextended. That's the number one scenario. And then the other scenario is about the same, right? Just like Aeon, right? You could be looking at like SIA just to go straight up, like with a 30 to 40% move to the upside, right? Before finally cooling down, right? So that's about it for Siacoin. So keep an eye on Siacoin, pretty bullish, but at the same time, just put your stop loss, very carefully. So the next one I'm going to talk about is Encash. When you take a look at Encash, still like one of those generation of coin project making this, normal wave right to the downside, unlike VeChain, right? VeChain is the only coin I think like I can think of, right? But I think like Genesis Vision, I'm gonna talk about Genesis Vision next. So when you take a look at Encash, right, it's making this normal wave, right, a falling wedge, a nice divergence between the RSI and then the price, right? You take a look at the RSI, we got this big divergence, right? Let's see, you got this starting since like, let's see, that's like late November, right? So you gotta think about it. Encash since like late November to like late February, right? Encash is making some higher highs, right? So I mean some high lows, right? And then the RSI is still not over, seriously overbought, right? So you could be expecting, at least for the short term, right, Encash to be like seriously overbought, right? Maybe RSI gonna get to this area of 78 to 74, right? 74 to 78, right? And then right now you get like a RSI of 56, so it's pretty good, right? I think like even like Encash is safer than like Siacoin and then and Aeon, but Aeon and Siacoin could be more explosive for the short term, right? So don't buy it because I'm saying they're gonna be explosive, right? I'm just making this video for my own reference, right? So and then when you take a look at it, right, the same type of generation with OneChain and ICX, right, and Encash and then ARK. Okay, ARK also got the same type of formation, and ARK is all the way up right here, like almost 70% above this area of 50 EMA, right? So you could be expecting at least Aeon, right, to make a very impulse move. I mean not Aeon, but Encash to make a very impulse move to the upside, just like that, right? Let's take a look at it. Just like this area, right? We could be expecting Aeon with a very, very impulse move, and then challenge this area of let's see, I think it's like 71, right, 72 sats, right? So that's about it for Aeon. And then the next one we're gonna talk about is GVT. When you take a look at Genesis Vision, it's pretty much similar to let's see, Monero, right? I'm gonna talk about Monero next. And then you got a nice like triangle, just like that, right? So Monero just, I talked about Monero, like I've been talking about Monero the last 3-4 weeks, right? Broke out this area, came back, retested. So I said like on Monero, exactly like on Monero, this area of a crossover gonna support the price. And then you take a look at Genesis Vision, right? The same area of a crossover, is supporting the price. And look at this impulse move we're making right now. So it is going to be I think it's up what 10% already. So I don't like to talk about coin when they're up like 10%, but it's pretty interesting how high it can go. It can go, right? Nice crossover, just broke out, come back, retest this crossover, right? Same exact area. You could even say like this, right? Maybe break below it. So, but still, come back, retest it, and then you're looking for another 50% move to the upside, right? Let's say the next before end of the month, right? If the market remains bullish, right? So I would say like at least it's gonna come back and retest this area next couple of days with a 20% move, right, from this area. You take a look at this the RSI. RSI is pretty healthy, just like I said about Saya coin and then Aeon, right? You take a look at the RSI is almost 70, right? On the was 70 for GVT, right? I was following GVT back then, but the RSI was a very overextended, so I was kind of wasn't comfortable, so I just left it, right? Get out of that position. So, but the same thing that happened to Genesis Vision could be happening to Saya coin and then Aeon, right? So they could like come back down just like that and then make a very impulse move. Because you take a look at it when you go back to the price action of Genesis Vision, look at get overextended, get a big sell-off. Now the price got a lot of momentum even to break all this area of resistance with another like 50 to 60% move to the upside, right? Before end of the summer at least, right? So the next coin we're gonna talk about is Monero. When you take a look at Monero, you see, I changed the screen, but how similar the pattern between the Monero and the GVT looks like, right? So, same type of crossover, got a support from this area of, resistance and support, basically supporting the price, right? If you've been following me, I've been talking about since like early, like let's say early February, like mid-February, I say like, Monero gonna come back, probably gonna come back and get a support from this area, right? So if it doesn't go up like and then complete the move, right? But the Monero just decided to come back and retest this area, so it's pretty good, right? Making some higher lows, right? And then you take a look at this, the RSI is basically relatively flat. So I would be expecting like the RSI to make a very impulse move very shortly, pretty safe, 48. Even though the price is looking the pattern is looking great, but you take a look at the RSI, this accumulation move, right? So since like let's take a look at it, last week of February since like last week of February, right, we're getting this accumulation move. So it is pretty significant. And then you take a look at the price action also, it's just following the RSI. So I would be expecting a very, very aggressive move from Monero. I said it on my previous video about Monero. It's just gonna be a very explosive. And don't buy Monero because I say it's going to be explosive, because I'm not holding any Monero. I'm just making these videos to be prepared for the next bull run, like so I can go back and watch this video and go back to this pattern and then try to recognize them, right? So Monero is looking pretty bullish. Let's say by next week I would expect like Monero at least to challenge this area of resistance. I got this line right here, so you would be looking at 15% to the upside. It's not a big deal, but at least during this bear market, 15% excuse me, 15% is pretty good, right? So but it could go a lot higher than 15%. I'm just being conservative, but Monero gonna be challenging these areas, right? You see this correction just about this area right here. So this area of correction, Monero gonna challenge this area very soon, like before the summer. So you would be looking at a 30% move to the upside. So still pretty good, right? So and then the next coin I'm gonna talk about is VeChain. When you take a look at VeChain, VeChain is pretty special. I made a video about VeChain yesterday when VeChain was like 119, right? Less than 119, 120 on Binance, right? It was kind of late, so I didn't want to make the video too long, so I just because I know VeChain going to be exploding the next like couple of hours, right? So I just made that video just to refresh my mind when I come back to it. So VeChain making this already made this, formation, right? This inverted waves, right, like that, and then got a left and right shoulder, just broke out of it. So, but I'm not expecting a one-to-one extension. If I were, let's say I was looking at this, right, like I was looking at it like this, right, and then break this area, I would be looking at a one-to-one extension, right? But I'm not looking at a one-to-one extension. I'm just looking for VChain to challenge this area of either early November or late October, right? So that's my target for VChain. So you would be looking at another almost like 45 to 50% move to the upside, right? So almost 50% move to the upside, right? So let's say 30% move to the upside if you challenge this area of early November, right? So you're looking at a 30% move to the upside at least, right? So let me just remove this. So when you take a look at also the RSI is basically look like Aeon in a Sia coin, right? So you could at least expect for the short term the RSI is pretty overextended. I mean 70 for this bear market is pretty overextended for me, right? So you take a look at a VChain, right? That's the first time VChain got to like this area of 70 like since when? August, right? That's the first time VChain get to this area of 70 on the RSI, right? So it's pretty serious. So you could expect if VChain like come back down like to this area, get a correction, just to get like some momentum to go back to this area. It's not a big deal, right? So I wouldn't be panicking. I don't own any VChain, so but don't buy VChain because I say VChain gonna be going up. I don't own any VChain. I'm just watching it, right? So we could get this slight correction, a 10 to 15% move to the downside, and then before a even further explosive move to the upside, right? Because the RSI is very overextended. 70 is pretty high on the daily time frame, right? So at the current state of the bear market. So that's about it for today. Let me know what you think down below the comment section. If you think like any of these coins going to be crashing, you think like they already bottom out with this beautiful bottom formation, and then make sure to hit the like and subscribe, right? Thank you.